What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. This is S.O.G bringing you guys another versus video. Today we have the Canik MC9 Prime going up against Springfield Armory's Echelon 4.0C. Now the Prime comes in at $600 and the Echelon 4.0 also comes in at $600. That will include the non-gear up package and the gear up package, which will include an optic, not this one that I have on there, but it will include an optic, 3 additional magazines, and a range bag. Now the Prime, just because it doesn't come with a gear up package, doesn't mean you don't get a phenomenal value. We know that Canik is known for giving you guys more than the things you need in box, and that will include a holster and 2 magazines. Now both magazines come with 17 rounds, and for the Springfield Armory Echelon, you will get 2 magazines in a standard purchase, and that will be either 215s or it'll be 115 and 118. But if you get the gear up package, like I said, you're going to get 2 15s and 3 18 round magazines. Now let's go right into the overall size comparison between the two. The Canik MC9 Prime on your left here is going to have an overall height of 5.43 inches, and the Echelon will have an overall height of 5.13 inches, meaning the 4.0C is slightly shorter in terms of height. The Prime, however, in terms of overall length, has a length of 6.73 inches versus the 4.0C having a length of 7.25 inches. As far as the weight goes, they are very similar, the Prime weighing at 23 ounces and the Echelon weighing at 24 ounces. Now, taking a look at the Prime's width, you have a width of 1.16 inches and the Echelon is 1.2, so just a little bit wider on the Echelon versus the Prime. The barrel length in the Echelon 4.0C is 4.02 inches in length, and when we compare that to the Prime has a barrel length of 3.64 inches in length. However, this is a ported or comped barrel, and it's also fluted, so you do get that from the Prime. Now, I have heard that the Echelon 4.0C will be coming out with a comp version, so it'll be interesting to compare those two once the Echelon gets that comp on there. Looking at the sights in the Canik Prime, you have metal sights, and you have a orange trinium front sight with blacked out trinium rear sights. And for the Echelon, you're going to have a 3-dot metal night sight system. They are white dots all around, and again, that's just my variant. The standard will come with a yellow trinium and a U-notched white outline rear. And as you guys can tell, both come optics ready. What's really interesting about the optic compatibility is Springfield Armory's amazing and innovative system to mount red dots to your gun. I believe that they changed the game with that, and that is a standout feature from the Echelon. So you can mount different footprints on that without needing an adapter plate. Now the Canik Prime has a RMSC footprint, and you can put any RMSC dot on there or K-series dot on your Prime without needing any adapter plates. Now where it does get interesting is going to be in the texturing, so we're going to start with the frame and some of the features that the frame comes with. Now looking at the Echelon, you have the fantastic grip texture that they are known for. You have it all across, you even have some in the front of the trigger guard, and even a little bit of that stipple on the magazine. So just all in all, a great job by Springfield Armory. You even have some of that texture or stippling on the mag release, which is super nice. You do have 3 total backstrap options, so you have the small, the medium, and the large, which is really nice, and you get a light beaver tail that comes with those back straps to prevent any slide bite. Now taking a look at the Canik MC9 Prime, this is the first time they offer this texture or this stipple job on their handgun, and boy did they do an amazing job. In my opinion, better feeling than the Springfield Armory Echelon, but again, that's just my opinion. Now what they did here was they did the same thing. They raised the texture all the way around and above the magazine release, and they also included a index finger texture and stipple job, and they also added it in front of the trigger guard as well. And they also have it on their magazine. Now I do have a mag wheel on here, which is what comes with the gun, but just so you guys can see that magazine stipple job, it matches the frame, and they did a great job. Now a nice thing that Canik actually did to this was, instead of having the same texture or aggressiveness coming all the way around the gun, they changed the front and the rear straps or sides or whatever panels. They are a little more aggressive than the sides. Now they did that because they were aware that people would want to carry this, so they lessened the aggressiveness on the side so it's not so abrasive against your skin, but they raised the aggressiveness on the rear and the front panels so that it's still nice and easy to get that purchase on the firearm, so you know that gun's not going anywhere. So great job by both companies with the stipple job and the texturing on these guns. Let's get into everybody's favorite topic, and probably mine as well, into the triggers. So we're going to clear these guns, even though they've already been cleared, but I'm just going to remove the mags for you guys here and show you we are clear. Show you we are clear. Starting with the Springfield Armory Echelon. Now that broke just at 5 pounds. We're going to try it another time here to show you guys the consistency. Again, broke right at 5 pounds. Now let's take a look at the Canik MC9 Prime. Canik Prime, as you guys can see, broke at exactly 4.5 pounds. We'll go one more time with it. And that broke at just over 4.5 pounds, it looks like. Here's what the trigger on the Echelon looks like. So you get a nice short take up. You come to a good wall, and it feels almost spongy, but it's a clean break. It's very nice. It's smooth. It's rolling. Let's take a look at the reset on it. The reset's nice. However, the reset sound is slightly low, so if you're shooting and you're working on trigger discipline, it could maybe throw you off, or you might not be able to hear it. Now let's take a look at the Canik Prime. Has more of a take up, you can tell right away, but you have a more definitive wall here. A much cleaner break, in my opinion, very crisp versus the spongy feel of the Echelon, and a way faster reset. Beautiful triggers on both of these guns. And as you guys can see, both of these come with a 3-slot Picatinny rail, so you can mount whatever light it is you want on your firearm. Taking a look at a little bit more on the features, as far as your loaded chamber indicator goes, the Springfield Armory Echelon kind of took the design from the Glock. So I don't know if you guys can see, but you have a little spot right there, and when you have one in the chamber, this lifts up just a little bit so you're able to see it and even run your finger across and feel it to tell if you have one in there. Now with the Canik MC9 Prime, it's a little bit easier to see and it's a little more visible, but as you guys can see, it's got a little notch here, and once you have one in the chamber, that will actually lift up just a bit, and will also have a red color there to show you that you guys have one in the chamber. Looking at some of the Ambi controls on these two, the Echelon did an amazing job of making sure that this was 100% user-friendly, not just for right-handed shooters, but also for wrong-handed shooters. Now, what I mean by that is that they made everything 100% ambidextrous. So you have your slide lock, your slide release, you have your magazine release, all that stuff is fully ambidextrous without having to switch anything. The only thing that you do have to switch is this here, but again, you can switch it to the other side. So it's 100% fully ambidextrous. Great job by Springfield on that. Now the Canik Prime here is also ambidextrous. However, you do have to flip your magazine release to the other side, but slide lock, slide release, all that other good stuff is going to be right where you need it to be. No need to switch anything. So again, a great job by both guys, making sure that everybody can use these firearms. The disassembly with these two is very, very simple. You're just going to lock the slide back here on the Echelon. Once you have that slid back, you're going to move this little lever over. Leave this one, you go down like that. So you bring this down and then you release the slide and that comes straight out. And to put it together, you're just going to follow the rails here, go all the way back, lock the slide back, push that back in place, and release the slide there, and you're good to go. Now the disassembly for the prime is going to be a little bit like a Glock. So what you're going to do is basically you got a tab here, you have another tab here, you're gonna, oh, where to go, here, you're gonna push on both sides while you're pulling the slide back. That releases it. Just basically find the wiggle area, remove it, and there you go. You got your recoil spring and barrel there. To put it back, instead of sliding the slide from all the way from here, Canik's kind of weird, so I start from back here, from these two areas right there, and I kind of line up the recoil spring, make sure you're straight there, and there you go. You're back in action. Easy on both of them. For cleaning and just maintenance wise, they did a great job for both of these. My shooting experience with both have been phenomenal. I recently did a 1,000-round review on the Canik Prime. If you haven't checked that out, I'll go ahead and put a link so you guys can feel free to check that out. But not one issue with this. It has been amazing. It's a great shooter. Same with the Echelon. I don't have 1,000 rounds quite yet in the Echelon. To be honest with you guys, I don't really shoot it that much. But I have shot it enough to be able to give you guys an opinion based on both of these. In my opinion, the Prime is a much better and flatter and accurate shooter than the Echelon. Now, I'm not taking anything away from these guys because they did a fantastic job with their gun, but just for me, the Prime is just a better shooter's gun. In my opinion, I was able to get back on target a lot quicker. Could be because of the trigger, could be because of just the stipple job they did, or the fact that it's got ports and this one doesn't. But by far, I like the Prime, the way that it shoots better. It'd be interesting once they come out with a 4.0 Echelon comp, like a compensated, not you know, not compact. So I would be interested in taking a look at that. But I do like the way that this shoots better. Now, I haven't had any issues with either of them. No malfunctions or nothing like that. But some of the things that I would like to see different, I think the Echelon did an amazing job with this. I think that the fact that they have all this texturing and grooves and indents and aggressiveness in the slide was just, man, it was on point. It was perfect. I think this is one of my favorite looking guns of all time. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I would say probably even better looking in the Prime. As far as the slide goes, I like how that looks, but the texturing on the frame, I really like the Primes better. Even the trigger is much better looking, not just functioning or feeling, but just better in general with the Prime. Really good gun. And I mean, what I would have loved to see them do is I would have loved to see them do something like what Springfield did. Give you a 15-round mag and an extension option versus just giving you two 17-round mags and calling it a day. Because you could have had an option to conceal a little bit better or having a shorter grip so that you could either, you know, carry it inside the waistband with absolutely no worries, or outside the waistband if that's your cup of tea. But at least giving people the option, you know, to always extend, because you can't really shorten down the frame. So those are a couple of the things that I would say would be better. Also with the Echelon, I think this is a huge upgrade from some of the other guns that they had out there, but I would like to see an even bigger improvement with the trigger. Now the trigger feels spongy. It kind of reminds me of the P365 squishy feel. So I wish that they would kind of get rid of that and just make it a little bit more crisp. And I think that the reset could be just a little bit more tactile, a little bit louder, and maybe even a little bit more crisp. But nevertheless, great trigger, great guns in general. But that'll wrap it up for this video. You guys let me know in the comments what you guys think of either of these two. Which would you pick up? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I'm going to ask you to consider doing so. Helps the channel grow a lot to be able to give you guys this type of content. But as always, I appreciate you guys so much. God bless you, and I'll see you on the next video.